GM. GM daily lesson. Today's lesson. Talk about the market cycle. Talk a little bit about the mindset of every single person who was mega bullish at the top in 2021. I want you to think about that. And I want you to imagine that, but bigger. So if you're around in 2021, you remember NFT mania. Every football player launching one. Half the NBA players changing their fucking profile pictures to NFTs. Elon Musk going on Saturday Night Live shilling Doge. And a host of other things. And imagine those people, right, that came in from September, October, November, December 2021. That 4-month period where they came in, bought the top, got wrecked. Then it all went down. And so obviously, they're like, oh, fuck this, crypto's a scam, it was all a bubble, it's hype, it's dead. And then remember that these people are wrong every time. The people who said crypto was dead are the same people who bought the top. Why would you listen to them? There is not one crypto OG or whale or smart money. There is never one of them that ever says crypto is dead, because they know better than that. I was reading. Fucking actually annoys me. It almost annoys me, except the fact that you can make so much money from it, and it just makes us all so much richer. That there, people like this still exist that will eventually come back and buy our bags. I've seen over the past few months people calling crypto a scam, right? That's normal. People comparing it to Tulip Mania. That's always the one they use. The bubble, famous bubble, Tulip Mania, 1600s, Holland, everyone was fucking buying flowers. Go and look at the chart of Tulip Mania. It's a year of speculation, big pump up, big dump down. A bubble doesn't reinflate 4 times. Bitcoin now apparently is on its 4th bubble with higher lows each time. They're not bubbles. That's an adoption cycle of new transformative tech. And we know this, and they don't. Eventually, they are all going to be here. All those people, and there's so many. You've just been through the Christmas period, right? If you're with family. Compare that to Christmas 2021. It's night and day difference. The price of Bitcoin is similar to how it was in December, January 2021. Slightly lower. Nobody was talking about it. Do you know what? I actually think that we had the perfect bear market because it could not have got any worse. Because it went so mainstream, and the guy who took it mainstream in a large part was Sam Bankman-Fried, because he pumped more money into advertisement. He had fucking Tom Brady and Taylor Swift and fucking the biggest names in the world. He was at the Super Bowl. He was sponsoring fucking Formula 1 cars. He bought a fucking arena. And it was everywhere. He was on Forbes' list. And when he fucking frauded everyone, and when he blew up FTX and blew up the industry, a massive amount of people gave up on the market. They just gave up. They're like, it was a scam. Crypto is a scam. It's over. It's done. Fuck that. I'm out. And they still think that. They don't even know what's happening yet. Because they're not going to check. Think about it. They come in, bought the top, got scammed, got flushed out, and left. Do you think they check the charts? No, it's painful for them to check the charts. They bought the top and panic sold the bottom. They won't check the charts. Eventually, it will be inevitable. They will have no choice but to get back in, because it will be so big and FOMO driven. They just will not have a choice. Because whenever, and this is nothing to do with like retail, like hype and NFTs, the adoption cycle of crypto, the asset class, the technology, that should have died with FTX. That should have been the final nail in the coffin. The fact that it wasn't is making the smartest money realize we don't have enough of this. This thing, not only did it not die, but it's coming back bigger. And if it is, it's going to new highs. Everything. Every good project. And if that happens, we're going to grow. Not just reach the highs, we're going to grow. Because it's going to reach mass adoption. I mean, you got BlackRock and all those putting in Bitcoin ETF and then going for an ETH one next. Where do you think that leads to? The top 10 coins all getting ETFs over the next number of years. It's mass adoption. And right now, the smart people are realizing, the smart money are realizing that this is not an overextended rally. This is the last chance to get on board into a new massive boom. And eventually it will bubble and eventually it will crash. But the bubble and the crash don't come before all-time highs and beyond. I just can't. I was trying to think of something else to talk about that wasn't just more bull propaganda. But I genuinely don't think people are anywhere near bullish enough. I don't think you understand what's in front of you. Of course, many of you do. But for anyone who doesn't, I want to reiterate what I said yesterday. It's not about whether we definitely get a new extraordinary massive bull run. It's about the probabilities and the magnitude of the returns if we do. At this point, I'm positioned from lower. I bought through the bear market. My bags are much, much lower where I entered, and I'm in healthy profit. When you're in that position, you have the luxury of thinking, what if, like I said before. And when I think about, what if Bitcoin goes to 250k? I don't feel a sense of disbelief. I don't feel like I'm being euphoric or idiotic. I think, what if? It could, right? And then I think, as you should, what's the alternative? What's the downside? What's the peak bearish? What's the worst outcome? A lot of people think that the worst outcome is like crashing 12k. It's not. The worst outcome for this year is just simply underperformance. It's if Bitcoin goes to 50 and then drops back to 30 and just kind of goes nowhere and the stock market keeps going to new all-time highs. That would be, and crypto, obviously the altcoins don't do well, that would be massive underperformance. But that's a very low probability. And this is what I'm trying to say. Your opportunity is enormous to the upside, and your risk to the downside is limited to whatever, 50%, 40%, 30%. Remember, you don't use leverage. You are not putting a bet on that if it loses, you lose all your money. So you can't lose everything. But you could gain exponential returns. And I'll just reiterate, as I'm doing my yearly plans myself, which will be out soon, and I'm doing them, I'm redoing them, I'm refining them, I'm thinking, I do this very thorough. I take a week at it. I spend a lot of time thinking, and this is a lot of these daily lessons this week are just going to be me thinking. It's actually one of my resolutions to do a lot more. One of the things I'm going to do every single day is 30 minutes to an hour of just thinking, where I turn everything off and get out of that action mode and into more of the thinking mode. Not even just about the markets. Just, I used to do this a lot. I used to do it when I went for walks. The last few weeks or months, I've got very much into like always being in action and never stopping and reflecting. So it's quite nice. This week is a big reflection week for me as I plan the year ahead. And so you get so caught in the weeds, and I'm as guilty as this as anyone. You get caught in the weeds of wake up, work, trade, do videos, teach, mentor, family, gym, eat, bed, repeat. And you go, and you go, and you go, and you go, and you crush your goals along the way. You're very productive. Every day, every week is good, but you can easily do that with the wrong strategy and then end up underperforming. No amount of hard work or efficiency or no amount of productivity will help you crush it if you don't have the right strategy. And I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, this year is the biggest year ever. I don't think this is going to be even a repeat of 2021. I think it's going to be something entirely different. I don't think people are actually accounting for the fact that Bitcoin and Ethereum, especially, can go on insane bull runs. Because whatever happened in 2021 was supposed to not happen again. It was supposed to go to zero. It was supposed to die. It didn't die. It's coming back. And when people realize that, I think we're just going to shoot to all-time high. Because people realize, no, Bitcoin underperformed last cycle. Maybe you'll remember this. Everyone's minimum target was 100k. And Sam was manipulating the Bitcoin market. He was selling his customers Bitcoin constantly for a year and a half to pump Solana and keep the price of FTT up. But he was suppressing the price of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin couldn't get to 100k because of centralized fuckery. And then Luna fucking helped Bitcoin to collapse on the way down. So fast forward, Bitcoin survived all that. It survived the banking crisis and was a flight to safety in the banking crisis in March. It's outperformed gold and correlated with gold. It's a response to the interest rates coming down. It's a response to money printing going up. It's a response to a weak dollar. It's actually, I don't think you remember this, like last year Bitcoin was not an inflation hedge because it was at 16k. And everyone laughed. Inflation hedge. Look, we've got high inflation. Bitcoin's down. Bitcoin is an inflation hedge and more. It's now accepted as that by fucking Paul Tudor Jones, Stanley Druckenmiller, Larry Fink, everyone. And I don't like, it's hard to say it without just sounding too much like a moon boy. But you know I'm not a moon boy, and I advocate for spot only and not being stupid with leverage and just being in position. But you have to understand that this is the cycle. This is where it can happen, right? It couldn't happen last cycle. It was too soon. It had to go through one more tough test, which it went through and it passed. So when I think of the what if this is the cycle where Bitcoin has institutional adoption? Oh wait, it is. It's actually happening next week. Okay. What if this is the cycle where Bitcoin has nation state adoption? Right? We've already got fucking the guy in Argentina who's talking about it. But what happens when Bitcoin suddenly becomes a tool of nation states, like gold, where they start to collect it, hoard it, accumulate it? And the point of saying this is that when it's going up, and we know we're early bull, okay, we're late in this little rally, but we're early in the bull market. By the time you hear about it, you can't wait until you hear. You can't wait until you hear. By the time you hear on the news that fucking Saudi Arabia has bought Bitcoin, it's going to be at 150k. But if that's happening, and that's this for the first time, that's a real possibility for major countries, not America, but even though America are actually hoarding it, they've got 50,000 Bitcoin that they seized from Silk Road and never sold. Even though they said they were going to sell them. They said they were going to sell 70,000 Bitcoin, 66,000 Bitcoin, or whatever it was, in 2023. They sold 10,000 of them, and then they didn't sell any other ones. Wonder why. Why would they sell the Bitcoin they seized for dollars? Think about it. Why would the US Treasury sell Bitcoin for dollars? They print dollars. Why would they sell it for dollars they can just print? So they didn't. They sold a bit so that it looked like they're selling it, and they've kept the rest. This is public knowledge. They are sitting on 50,000 plus BTC. They said they would sell it this year. They didn't sell it. And they can't be seen, right? They can't be seen to go and buy Bitcoin and openly announce it, because that's giving the biggest green tick to the thing they hate. But they might know it's inevitable. Someone in the government might be like, well, I mean, we could sell this, but wouldn't it be better to just keep it just in case? And then what happens if this becomes like the maxis think? This is the way you have to think at this stage of the market cycle. The Bitcoin maxis, and not deluded ones, they say it is game theory. And it is game theory. Just like every central bank must own gold, because every other central bank owns gold. If one big nation, especially a competing nation, if Iran has 100,000 Bitcoin, and Russia has 100,000 Bitcoin, and China has 100,000 Bitcoin, America needs 110,000 Bitcoin. It becomes a competition. They can't ban it. They've tried. You can't ban it. It doesn't have a CEO. It's not a company. And like, do you have any idea where the price goes if all that happens? And so, thinking that way, I think that's inevitable. Bitcoin's inevitable. This is what they say, the maxis. And I agree. I think that's a 10-year thing, right? 2030, whatever. But it won't happen 9 years from now. It will happen in stages. And so what's the next stage? We're in the middle of it. We're in the let's get Bitcoin onto Wall Street to make everybody okay with it, and to give it the soft kind of push and give it the green light and let people know that it's good and it's fine. You can trust it because it's in the hands of BlackRock. Just like I only see one place where this is going, and it's enormous. So yes, this is another bullish propaganda lesson. And my advice, as always, is the exact same. Don't sell. Don't sell your bags cheap. Don't use leverage. Do not give away your money. Work extremely hard. Do everything you can to gather more capital. Learn how to trade so that you can make more money along the way and reinvest it into whichever coins you want. And play this game. Play it with a long-term view. And remember what could happen.